Welcome back, everybody. It is about 12:30 on a Sunday. Hope everybody's doing well. This is the first morning that I have taken off, and I can't even tell you how long, where I just slept in. I didn't do the range today. I didn't do anything. I didn't get up early to come downstairs and game, which I am doing now. Rocking some old Dead Space, some retro shit, but I wanted to touch base, and guess what I'm doing? I'm cleaning up, because I didn't plan on doing a video. Like, you know what? I needed to do the video yesterday, and I didn't. So, what we have here, move some stuff out of the way. Should have sat, I was going to sit on the other side, but the other side is the Avada station at the moment. I had to do a quick flight. I'm doing a transition flight from summer to fall. Still fall, but fall without the foliage, and then I'm going to do winter. So I'm getting little bits and pieces and chopping them up. I got to start the edit today and just start getting stuff on a timeline to show the change here. But not to get off topic. Big shout out to Shane if he's watching this. Formerly Lobster Man, I think Ghosts of FPV now. Reached back out. We've been talking, and I was able to help him out and get some quads back in order and super flyable, clean, rebuilt. And it was an honor, and I'm happy to help him. So look forward to hanging out with him again. But I'm going to blame Wffin Chet for this one. Wffin Chet got me hooked. I have never been a plane guy, interested, but they fly based on wind. Wind has to touch things, so you get a lot of movement compared to flying FPV, where other than the leaning and turning, you're not getting bobbled around unless you're flying something small. So this is definitely a new adventure for me and hard to get used to, but started super small. This is the Ranger 600, well, I guess what they call a glider fixed wing. It's got one tiny little motor on it. It says 8mm. I don't think it's an 8mm motor. I think it's a 7 sitting inside of a pod, but I'm going to experiment with trying to get that out and getting a higher kV motor, looking into one of the bigger tiny whip motors and see if I can get something with a little more oomph. Obviously I've added FPV because that's the way I like to fly. I have flown it line of sight, and it is fun as hell, but I decided yesterday at the range where I debuted it to fly it FPV. Camera quality is good, as in picture, as in low light, absolute shit. It was overcast yesterday morning, and when I crested, so half of my view below me was perfect land, and then above me was cloudy sky. The ground completely blacked out where I couldn't see anything. So it wasn't a very good, I would call, low light camera. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to do an AKK. I don't know if it's a 20 or 50 milliwatt or 200, so I'll be able to do a selector. So I just did a very simple setup on it to get it attached to the canopy, and I chose to put it here because the canopy thing comes off. I had to modify it a little bit to get everything to work. As you can see, this little post, it had a little foot that sat inside of here, but as you can see, if I can get this out with one hand, yes. Let's get close and personal here, hold on. I got a tiny whoop battery, and I chose this placement, so I made some holes. I made a hole there, and it's adjustable based on balance, your center of gravity, and I've got it where it's perfect, absolutely perfect, where it still balances. And the canopy sits in there good, no complaints. It rocks it somewhere around a 320 milliamp. I don't know what it's going to say on here. You can read that. I can't read it through the phone. Oh, almost. Let's get closer. 3.7. Does that say 400? I think it says 400. That's cool. Anyway, so yeah, it flies off that. The camera is powered by this. Based on the time that I flew yesterday, I'm going to see what battery life is left on this. Maybe it might be worth just avoiding this altogether and then running it off of this. If I lose a couple minutes, it gets a 10-minute flight time. I don't need 10 minutes. If I get 5 or 6 out of it, that's cool. It's not going to be any real long range. The test I did at the range yesterday with it, I got to the 200-yard berm with it with no question. And I thought this was only 25 milliwatts. And if that is what this is, I was able to get out that far, no problem. But I will have to check and see which camera I actually bought. It could be a 200 milliwatt, and that would explain its clarity. But the first test flight worked really well. I had to tweak it a little bit. If anybody's into getting one of these, based on what I've done with Wffin Chet's and mine, I had to bend this out just a bit, and I had to go to the outside of the little dots here to make it move a bit more. And I may do that also with the one that's back here, bring it down so it'll give me a bit more of up and down, give me a little more control. It is not a flyer you want to fly with any breeze. It's kind of like the tiny whoop of planes. It's not recommended to fly it in any real breeze. It struggled a bit, and I was having issues turning, thinking it was me, just to realize that the wind was blasting around, because this thing doesn't weigh. It doesn't weigh anything, but it's not meant to. This is, again, just a fun little flyer, and adding FPV just makes it a little more enjoyable. It has 3 modes. I was looking at other ones on eBay yesterday, different style little RC planes. I'm not looking to spend any real money, and you know, a lot of these are $300-400, and that's crazy. But it's the only one I found that actually had 3 modes. It's got a very cheap standard style controller, but it has a beginner, which is full level mode, light level mode, and then acro, where it turns it all off. It makes it decently agile, which is fun. It just needs just a little more pep to it, and I think it'll even be more fun. But once the new camera gets here, I'm going to take this one off and mess with it a little bit more. But it's a neat little venture. Stepped out of my comfort zone a little bit, and it's fun. Wffin Chet and I were giggling like little kids when we made in his last weekend, I think it was. It was pretty cool. But stay tuned. I don't know if it says it on here. No, it just says Ranger 600. I got the box. Hold on. Oh, it says right there. So that's the brand, Ranger 600. You get them all over the place. He sent me a link, and I think we got them right around 20-something, just under 20-something bucks. I've seen them all over the place, even upwards of 80. And I guess there is an option for this one to have FPV built in. I don't know how good the quality it is, but that's what that hole there is. That would have been another option, is do a separate camera and VTX setup in this thing, if that's the route. But I kind of didn't want to put something inside where it wouldn't get as cooled as something sitting on the front would be. Again, at the price of these cameras, they're like 15-16 bucks, so if you smash it, it's not the end of the world. So we're going to go from there. But thanks for tuning in. Share your thoughts if you're into the plane situation. Let me know. Anything that you can share with me would be great. I'd like to learn a little more about this. Props, like I said, motor, anything. I can't obviously convert this to brushless without changing something in here, because this is a brushed motor, but that would be another cool option. That would give the power needed to really push this thing. But as for now, I don't want to go too far, because leave it as is, and then if I decide I want to go bigger, Gordon Scott's got a picture of a plane he sent us, any FPV guys, of a plane that I'd be interested in that would probably be much better in normal outside conditions. So I'm going to chat with him about that. But on that note, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Hope your football teams are playing. Enjoy it. Nice, at least in New England here, it's like 75 degrees. It's unusual. It was really warm last night and warm yesterday. Crazy shit. And that loud humming noise is the old school PlayStation 3. That thing's loud. Crazy. Anyway, back to it. Got to get some coffee. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.